Okay, here's a new interesting archaeological find that's been found in the Himalayas, way up in a valley that actually stays green, that supposedly was found on a satellite photograph, and there was some conspicuous bouldering and stuff there, and a team from India and Russia got together and went there to do archaeology, or an initial on the site, if you will. And what they ended up finding is there's this civilization with other houses and buildings and so on, but also something real strange attached to it is there are over 200 horseman statues here that you can see all across the area, many of which have two riders on them, but some that you see, like maybe over on the right hand side, actually have three, and there's one that has four on it, although it appears that the people that are on those horses are smaller in stature than the two, but it may be just so they can fit them on there. But it seems quite reminiscent of Templars, for they were shown to have their two horsemen symbology that goes along with it. So I'm waiting for perhaps some other archaeology to come out on this, but you can see here that these horses are done in a very stylistic way. It seems very Proto-Indo-European. There are horses with full bits on here and full regalia, as they would say, onto it, because there's not just a simple bridle, but there's tassels all over it and so on. So this looks like there's some type of nobility identified in it. And on the neck you can see a filigree type of object and medallions that are all onto it. It's kind of unique. Now supposedly there's a valley that leads out of this, and through a series of valleys you can end up making it to the ancient site of Tibet, but also coming out the other way it leads into the steppes. But it's quite a journey, and one wonders if they're going to find some horses up here, but you would think that they would, with their how much revelry they have to horses here. But here we see that dual rider situation, one behind the other, and on the shoulder here you can see that it has a staff type thing that has a blade on top of it, something that we would recognize as a scepter or a mace, but it also has that blade that looks like the edge of a axe somewhat. And he seems to be wearing some type of armor. So it's pretty wild. And again, we're way up in the Himalayas, so it's kind of unique here. And so it asks more questions than it has answers for. And you can see they're all over the place here. So again, we look at that dual rider situation, and I can't get the idea of a Templar out of my mind. The only thing is I keep looking at these medallions and expecting there to be a Templar type cross, and I haven't seen one in any of the pictures, but I've only been able to see 3 pictures, or 4 really, of this whole site, and it doesn't give you much and leaves too much to the imagination, and whether you might see certain pictures if you were able to look at all of them. And again, this is way up in the Himalayas, but not where we are in the picture that's right here, for you can imagine down in the valleys that are here, it turns green and stays green pretty much predominantly a portion of the year. And so, like a Shangri-La in some little protected spot up here in the Himalayas, like tales we've heard about, there's a people that are living up here, but at this point they don't have a dating for it at all. And it seems that they're in the process of trying to get a new dating on it and starting to do archaeology on it right now, so it's pretty interesting. Although the first release on this seems somewhat vague and there was just a few pictures that are put with it, I somehow still get that idea of the Templars, but also with this idea, even though it's not in a tomb or up under a pyramid or anything like that, I get a terracotta army feel in this situation where it looks like they may have had people doubling up on horses and the children there, and it looks like there's a large exodus going on in some symbolic way, and that they would go through the trouble of building all of these horses symbolic of the people that were there before they left, as if to show them leaving. It just, maybe that's far off, but it seems like that could be the ideal here, and kind of strange. No one knows what the dating is on this, but you know, you look at the structure of this and the way that it looks, and it could be a few thousand BC easily, reaching back 4, 5, 6. But it could also be something that's in the AD time and has a little bit less qualified artisans, if you will. So as this comes out, I'll try to get more out on it. But pretty unique site here, and something that way up in the Himalayas, and something that you wouldn't think that would even exist somewhat, but again, like a Shangri-La up in the mountains, trapped in a valley that no one ever knew about, somehow magically found in a satellite photograph. And looking a little closer, there's some structures type look. Let's go check that out. Apparently they take a helicopter and are able to make it up to this point. One comment said that it was extremely difficult and not impossible to get Sherpas to come all the way up there. But then again, some of the other photographs show that they had some people up there with them, but I'm guessing they're all being taken up by helicopter, for they're not doing this for mountain climbing. Like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy. We'll get on to more stories about this, and if something more comes out about it, who knows, it may have come out now before I even release this out to you, but I'll try to follow this up with what they feel this goes with and the archaeology that goes with it. Peace.